Misinformation has been running rampant in today's society, especially in recent years. Most people have no idea they're being fed misinformation by political figures, social media influencers, and the mainstream media.
Hey, look at this tweet. It says dinosaur has come back. They have been cloned in Australia.
I can't believe what I'm reading.
What do you mean?
Are you hearing what you're saying?
Yes, there's an article here. It makes total sense.
Dinosaurs are coming back.
Yes, with the genetics.
What is your source? Like, the site?
Wikipedia.
Again.
A scientist told us.
Wikipedia.
Yes, it's very reliable.
And you're saying it's reliable?
Yes.
Oh my god.
What you just saw is a clear example of misinformation on the internet, because Lucas thought that dinosaurs were coming back through means of cloning. However, Dario knew that this wasn't the case. He even asked for Lucas's source and he said that it was Wikipedia. And Dario knows that this is a very bad source to cite from. Moreover, in today's society, this is a very clear problem. With misinformation going around so easily, people like Lucas believe anything that they see in the internet. Because nowadays, if people see anything on the internet, they might believe it's true. However, it might be not, and this might affect people in their daily lives, such as political issues or even household issues or any kind of issue in their general life.
Well, in my case, I'm a student at regular day school, and sometimes I have to look for information to research papers or other stuff. How can I know that a source is reliable or that I can trust it?
Well, you have multiple ways of doing this. First of all, you have to check if the source is published by somebody who is either has a scientific degree or is known in the scientific community as being somebody that is really well endowed in the topic and really does know what they're talking about. Because, for example, you can maybe look up an article made by some student in high school or in third year of college, and it might not be the most reliable source of information when it comes to scientific information on planets or stars or whatever.
And I constantly watch the news. How can I make sure they're not biased in any way?
So what you can do is you have to stay away from mainstream media, stuff like Fox News or CNN, and look for your own alternative media outlets that you know through research that you can do online that they're trustworthy and they don't have any. For example, you can check if the mainstream media is funded by some kind of political figure or some millionaire that has a lot of money, but they're known to be either left or right-leaning. And if you check that they're independent news organizations, you can find out that they're not really biased in any way, shape, or form.
Misinformation in 2021 focused on two big issues: vaccines and climate change. Some of the false claims about vaccines that went viral may seem absurd. Microchips in them? Making magnets stick to your body? Not true. Many are also easily disproved. The number of people suffering or dying from COVID far outweighs those adversely affected by the vaccines, not the other way around, as some claim. But such false claims undermined enough people's trust in the safety and efficacy of vaccines to have had dire consequences in real life.
Если меня насильно не заставят, то я не буду вакцинироваться.
They've contributed to lower vaccine uptake in some countries, resulting in more infections and deaths.
What this shows is what the hospitalisation rates and different age groups, where in the dark bars are people who are not vaccinated and the orange bars are the people who are vaccinated with 2 doses.
They also fed anti-government or anti-authority sentiment, in some cases radicalising people to take part in violent protests against COVID restrictions and vaccines. Activists have harassed doctors and nurses, blocked vaccination centres, and targeted children outside schools. In a small number of cases, individuals have also killed or injured others over their conspiratorial beliefs.
Next up, we interviewed some students from regular day school to learn about their experiences with misinformation and how to deal with it.
Please state your name for the camera.
My name is Ilan Kohan. I am 17 years old and I am a student.
Ilan, how has misinformation affected you in your daily life?
I think misinformation is quite a common problem in my life, as I work for work. I work in the school newspaper, so we have to deal with lots of information constantly from different sources, and misinformation is quite a big problem because it forces us to constantly check our sources to know that they are right so we can actually publish them.
Do you fact check regularly what you see online?
Usually yes, I always try to fact check, but I mean when I'm doing things for the newspaper or more serious things, I do fact check. But however, when I'm doing some simple things like you know, small work for class or something like that, I sometimes don't fact check, as it like takes a substantial amount of time to be able to check all sources.
Do you usually use information online for work?
Yes, all the time. I'm constantly dealing with lots of information and having to look for lots of the data online. And so yes, I usually have to deal with lots of information coming from different sources, which might be, I try to use most of the time sources like coming from government pages or from scientific newspapers, like things that are more trustworthy and reliable. However, I sometimes also use Wikipedia and other pages like that, which are not so reliable, but they are easier to get information out of. They're more accessible and more like it's more clear to take the information out. So that's why they're most of the time more appealing than trustworthy sources.
What do you think would be a good solution to not be fooled by wrong information or sources online?
I think it's just knowing what you're looking at, who wrote what you're reading, from like financed by who, which websites, like, because you cannot, apart from the source being reliable or not, by knowing the context around the source you're using, you can also know how biased it is and towards which side. And so it's mostly paying attention especially to the context of the sources, and having some go-to pages or websites in which you know you can trust the source to be impartial and mostly impartial, and to be fact-checked. So yes, it's that.
Please state your name and occupation.
Well, so my name is Collado, and I'm a student from BDS. I'm 17 years old and I study economy in Moscow.
How has the misinformation affected you in your daily life, Santino?
Well, so I think that all the trouble with misinformation maybe affects me, and I don't notice it because maybe I read something and I think it's true, but it's false. So then I live thinking that something is true, but then it's false. Or maybe like I make a schoolwork and I use information from the internet, and then that is wrong, and maybe my grade will be affected. I use a lot the information online, maybe when I have to make a school project or I have to make a research, and I use it also mostly in the dual diploma, and there all information that I get is from the internet.
And what do you think would be a good solution to not be fooled by wrong information and sources?
So maybe I think the good solution would be maybe when you are searching something, check different sources and different type of sources, so that you get like different opinions and different things about a topic that you're searching.